A boy once asked his mother to explain human psychology. Instead of answering directly, she told him to ask his grandfather how his arthritis was doing today, and then ask what was the funniest thing he ever did. When the boy asked about the arthritis, the grandfather immediately slumped. He talked about the damp weather, and a visible look of pain crossed his face as he struggled to move his stiff fingers. But moments later, when the boy asked about the funny childhood memory, the old man's face completely lit up. He sat up straight, stared into the distance with a wide smile, and chuckled as he recounted a story about spilling talcum powder all over a bathroom. The ambient temperature in the room hadn't changed at all, and the degradation of the cartilage in his joints remained identical. However, by shifting his attention from a painful physical sensation to a joyful memory, instantly the grandfather's entire physiological state transformed in seconds. His internal focus redirected his experience of the same physical facts. This illustrates a vital principle in human behavior. The map is not the territory. The reality we think we inhabit is actually a simplified projection resting on top of an infinitely complex physical world. Our physical senses act as a funnel. Every second, millions of bits of data hit our nervous system, and we have to delete, distort, and filter out most of it, just to keep our brains from being overwhelmed. What's left is a usable but highly edited internal model. The problem is that we often mistake this heavily filtered model for the actual real world. Neuro-Linguistic programming, or NLP, is the systematic study of how we draw this internal map. When you understand the mechanics of your own map, you gain a level of influence over your reactions. You start to navigate life with conscious choice, rather than moving through it on autopilot. NLP breaks down into 3 components. Neuro represents the mind and sensory filters used to take in data. Linguistic is how language categorizes this raw information into distinct boxes. Finally, programming is the specific sequences of actions we use to reach a goal. These elements act as the ink, paper, and compass we use to draw our subjective reality. Redrawing your map requires 6 structural pillars. The foundation includes you, your emotional state, and your presuppositions. Next are rapport with others and a clear outcome. Finally, feedback monitors progress, and flexibility allows you to course correct when things aren't working. If any of these pillars are missing, the structure becomes unstable. You can't change a habit or achieve a complex goal without paying attention to feedback or being crystal clear on your desired outcome. Let's look closer at those presuppositions. These aren't meant to be absolute truths. They are tactical assumptions you adopt because acting as if they are true tends to lead to better results. For instance, the assumption that people work perfectly. This means we don't view people as broken. We view them as having highly effective internal strategies that might just be poorly suited for the current situation. There's also the idea that every behavior has a positive intention. It assumes that, on some level, every action is an attempt to achieve something the person values. Then there's the rule that the meaning of communication is the response you get. If your message isn't understood, the responsibility for changing the approach lies with you, not the listener. Adopting these assumptions shifts the focus of an interaction. Instead of judging a behavior from the outside, you investigate the internal logic that made it seem like a good idea in the first place. There is a desert parable about a father who leaves 17 camels to his 3 sons. The eldest is to get half, the middle son a third, and the youngest a ninth. But 17 doesn't divide cleanly into any of those fractions. A traveler passing by offers to help by adding his own camel to the herd. Now there are 18. Half of 18 is 9, a third is 6, a ninth is 2. 9 plus 6 plus 2 adds up to exactly 17. The brothers take their inheritance, and the traveler simply takes his 18th camel back and continues his journey. NLP functions like that 18th camel. It's a temporary framework you bring into a situation to solve a specific problem. Once the conflict is resolved and the outcome is reached, the framework can be set aside. This entire system relies on internal ecology. The goal isn't to manipulate others, but to ensure your own internal state is healthy and aligned with your actions. Think of the airplane oxygen mask. You have to secure your own mask before you can help the person sitting next to you. You have to be congruent and clear within yourself before you can effectively influence or lead anyone else. Choosing how to draw your internal map allows you to move through the same territory with different results. When you change how you represent the world to yourself, the world you experience changes with it.